Hi, I'm Phyllis from the Doll Corner, and welcome back. And welcome any newcomers. And today I want to ask you to subscribe, touch the bell, give me a thumbs up if you like the video, and leave a comment. And check below for my basic doll patterns. Now is a good time to purchase it because you have time to make some nice doll clothes for your dolls that are needing clothes, and you could gift them for Christmas, and you'd have a fun time making them. And with that all said, today I'm going to give you some tips, or tips that I use, and I think they work pretty good. If I'm running a little short for a quilt block or something, I will line up my fabric and sew a seam down. And that's not going to be noticed. Well, it could be, but it's not likely it'll be seen. So how you do that is you take two pieces of fabric, and you see this line here. I'm using this big wide line so that it's easier. And I have lines going this way. So what I've done is I've lined those two up, and I put a pin through this one and the one on the bottom, so that I've got that right in the corner of that fabric, and then put a pin in it. Now if it was printed, you would pick somewhere, maybe a dog's eye or something, so that you can get it all lined up perfectly. And then you want to make sure that it's lined up going with this plaid. You want to make sure it's getting lined up even that way as well. And this measurement here is just a little less than a half an inch. It's almost a half inch. But I mark it just on this side of the 1/4 inch mark. So I'm not totally centered. I'm off-centered by a very scant amount. And then just sew it down. I have it marked here. And I'm watching my foot feet. And I have my center, just keep my guide right. It's right along in the inside of that on both sides. And then I sew down the center. And then I'm a little off. But you see how good that looks, and that when that's pressed. I'm a wee bit off here. I waved a little bit here. I'm not perfect, but a little bit of work on it. This one is pretty close, but you wouldn't notice that. And you see this at this mark, that's my 1/2 inch mark. So it's still half an inch down here. But here this goes up and down, so you wouldn't notice that. And you can do that with any kind of prints. Just have to get it lined up right. And then say I had a little tear And this won't look right because I'm just going to, oops. I'll just cut a piece here. And I'm going to use the multi-stitch zigzag. And I'm going to make it the widest stitch I have, which is 7. And then I'm going to narrow it, the length, down a little bit. Where did I cut that? So right there. And if I had some frayed edges along there, I might take a piece of interfacing, very lightweight, and put it on the back. But for this one, when it's not frayed or anything, I don't think I need it. And you'll see this because this is in white. And that's what I want you to do. Oops. I didn't have my, well, we'll just have to ignore that one. I didn't have it set right in my sewing machine. So we'll cut another one and see what I've done here. That's why it's always good to try it out before you oh, I know what I did. I didn't put it the nearest, I put it the... Now we'll try it again. That's better. Now you can see that. But I also did one with the right color of thread right there. So you can see it a little better maybe on the back, because I used a white thread on the back and I used a green on the front. So if that was a little tear on a dress or a top or a pair of pants or something, you might notice it even by just going it. And this is the stitch that I use. And you can see that, of course, it's my wrong color of thread. I'll do that again. Now this one I cut kind of crooked, so you can see. Well, I didn't catch it. Anyway, you have to practice with it a little bit. This is a yellow one that I did, and that was split, and I used almost the right color of thread. And what I did was I put a piece of interfacing, very lightweight interfacing, on it to hold it. And if you have any frays and things on your, along the edge here, that will hold them. Now this one, I just took a bit of stick glue and just touched the edge, the frays up with it, and then stitched it. To see how close I got there. This is the back side, this is the right side here. Now there's a little bit of the glue there that's showing, but once that's washed, it'll wash out because it's a washable glue. But if you take and just put a little piece of, see how this is a stretch interfacing, and just put a little piece like that. You can round the edges a little bit and put that on first and then sew it. So that's 2 little tips. Now to sew pieces of interfacing together, not interfacing, batting. You line up your edges and try to get them straight, and then take and use the same stitch the one that the triple stitch zigzag, and I use basically whatever I have handy, as long as I have something that will just guide along the top, and that keeps the batting, from getting caught on the foot feet. Because if you don't, you get the batting caught over the foot feet. Well, I didn't do it because I was wanting to show you. But you get your batting and you get it all tangled up around your foot feet like that, and then you have to cut it off, and it pulls it, and it does all kinds of weird things with it. Let's see. I don't want to lose that thread. But that holds your batting nice and solid, and you can use up little scraps and bits and pieces. And here I did it in the yellow thread, and you can see it. And if you feel when you get it done, this, you can take maybe a star. I made this one on my machine, and you can just put it on there, sew it on, and maybe it's kind of in an odd spot. We'll take 2 or 3 more stars and put them around. I would go with 3, and then maybe one on, say it's on the leg of a pant, put one on one side and 3 on the other. An odd number is always good. So that's basically 3 little tips, 3 or 4 little tips. But you know, when you want it to do something, it won't do it right. When I wanted this to get caught all in, because I usually go, if I don't do that, I get the batting all wrapped around here, and then I have a terrible time. But if you use a ruler, just anything to keep that flat. Or this is a little piece of cardstock, and just hold it and just keep moving it back. Or I was using this. This worked well too. So it's just whatever I have handy. Just something to keep the batting from puffing up in front of the foot feet. And thanks for watching. Be sure and subscribe. Check my Etsy shop. And thanks for watching. Bye now.